The Financial Stability Oversight Council, as its name implies, was established to identify risks to the financial stability of the United States, promoting market discipline, and responding to emerging threats to the stability of the U.S. financial system. However, I, along with a number of my colleagues on this committee, were deeply disappointed when recently the FSOC finalized their new non-bank systemically important financial institution, SIFI designation guidance. Instead of showing regulatory discipline, the Biden administration decided to issue the third non-bank SIFI designation guidance in 3 administrations, thereby cementing, in my opinion, FSOC's legacy as a political tool rather than an emerging threat monitor. This guidance transforms FSOC into a roving regulator aiming to bring entities under the Fed's control for seemingly and potentially partisan purposes rather than addressing true systemic risks. It also raises serious questions about whether FSOC is taking the best approach to even addressing systemic risk. An activities-based approach like the one that had been proposed in the Trump administration and was established, in my judgment, was the appropriate regime moving forward. Nevertheless, instead of examining risky activities within the broad financial ecosystem, FSOC has chosen to use the designation as a tool to crack down on individual companies and subject them to Federal Reserve oversight. This new non-bank designation guidance is a veiled attempt to grant political appointees the ability to go after specific companies without the need to adequately justify the designations across the economy. Further, the Biden administration failed to learn anything from the Obama administration's mistakes. For example, in the MetLife designation, it was struck down by the district court saying that FSOC lacked a cost-benefit analysis, number one, and secondarily was arbitrary and capricious in making that designation of MetLife, a conclusion that will no doubt be reached by the courts when a new designation is challenged because of this new revised proposed guidance. It explicitly excludes a cost-benefit analysis. Financial stability is paramount, not just for the U.S. economy's well-being, but for maintaining our global competitiveness. And given how powerful FSOC tools are, it's especially important to balance those authorities with prudence. That's why thoughtful members like Congressman Bill Foster have introduced bills like the FSOC Improvement Act, which requires the Fed board to treat non-bank SIFI designations as a last resort rather than a first option. Furthermore, abandoning the Trump administration's responsible, activities-based approach is demonstratively negligent and diminishes the FSOC's potential to act as an effective coordinating body amongst the federal regulators. A coordinated approach that examines activity-based risk within the financial system and subsequently works with market participants is undoubtedly a better approach for mitigating risk. Rather, FSOC's chosen to act as a hammer, looking at everything in their risk category as a nail. There's even some in the Biden administration that commented that FSOC has failed under this administration because it hasn't made any new designations. Well, let that sink in a minute. If your barometer for success is simply looking at how a regulatory body has or has not expanded its jurisdiction, that's concerning. And in my view, it's fundamentally flawed as a mindset. Unfortunately, we witnessed heavy-handed and haphazard approach to financial regulation by all of our financial regulators in recent years. And that's why industry participants of all stripes have come together to oppose this new guidance from FSOC, including 8 trade associations from different industries who've all signed on to a joint letter of support for this Congressional Review Act resolution. And I would ask that that be submitted in the record at this time, and without objection, it will be. I urge all my colleagues to support this CRA, and let's go back to something that was working that I think is much more consistent with our supervisory concept in and around FSOC since it was initiated. Let's do it on an activities base. Let's submit those that are performing in a systemically risky way, more scrutiny under FSOC, and let's make sure we have a balanced, effective, well-measured cost-benefit analysis. And with that, I urge my colleagues to support this CRA, and I yield back the balance of my time. What does the gentlewoman from California